Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and today what we are going to talk about is matcha. Matcha, some of you might know, very fine ground tea leaves. So this is the powder form, how you get it in when you're going to use tea stores or even in the supermarket. So today what I want to do is actually to dive into different temperatures of making matcha, so meaning that we take once 80 degrees Celsius, so 176 Fahrenheit, and once we take 60 degrees Celsius, which is 140 Fahrenheit, and then we're just going to compare, is there a taste difference when I brew the matcha or when I make my matcha with different temperature. For this I brought Yabukita matcha. Yabukita, the biggest varietal in Japan, so the biggest plant, the widest spread plant in Japan, which is used by the farmers. Reason is that Yabukita is so widespread. It is a cultivar which is kind of dealing quite well with frost. This has been often a problem in the 17th or 18th century with for the farmers, but since Yabukita came into vogue, so it was in 1908, since then it really had a success, nearly up to 95% in the region of Shizuoka, the biggest region for planting green tea in Japan, uses Yabukita, and Yabukita in the south is also kind of the amount is around 60% of the whole yield. So it's quite a big, quite a common cultivar. In matcha you can find a lot of varietals. Yabukita but is also a typical varietal used for matcha. And what we're gonna do is just to take half a teaspoon of matcha. As always, take a sifter, because it is just a reality of matcha. It is fine green tea, and you see there are a little bit of crumbs which are formed. They just form automatically, naturally, with when the matcha comes in touch with air. It's just a typical process because the dry green tea soaks a little bit up the humidity from its surrounding. So you always have to sift it. So half a coffee spoon or half a teaspoon, and we just sift it. Here I bought a strainer. You can easily take a strainer, or when you have a sifter, just use a sifter. Good. Then what I always want to use for the matcha is the Jasen. Jasen is this one here. So this is just a newly opened, so you can see it's still closed at the top. It will open now when I mix the first, or when I whisk my first matcha. So this is actually a bamboo whisk, which is made out of one piece of bamboo. Very easy and very good to use. Now first we do the 60 degree, which I prepared here. Just take around 100 milliliter of water, and then I'm gonna whisk this. Always not touching too much the ground, not to break the whisk, just whisking out of your wrist, and then you will get a beautiful foam, which I will just show you now. And that's the beauty of the matcha whisk. So you can see very beautiful foamy top, which I were able to create here. So this is number one. Now let's go directly into number two. Same amount of matcha. Here half a coffee spoon. And we're gonna whisk it. We're gonna sift it through. Good. Okay. Until there is nothing anymore in the strainer. So we're done here. We close the matcha. This we don't need anymore. Always close it as soon as you have used it to just keep all the goodness in the tin. And we just add this 100 ml of water as well. Good. And let's take the chess in again. Good. Very nice. So you can see it really opened up now. That's it, that's a process, and we're gonna pour this one as well. So now second one is the 80 degrees, so 175 degrees Celsius. Just gonna put this here, maybe the whisk back in. So 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees, 176, 80 degrees. Now let's see how the difference in taste is. Quite smooth in the beginning. A little bit of an astringency, like you know it from Yabukita. What is nice about Yabukita, it has a strong vegetal taste, so it suits very well also for you matcha latte. It really has this enormous kind of veggie, spinachy, green, fresh green grass taste, so really intense on this note. It swings a little bit together with an astringency. That's a little bit the part where some people might kind of a little bit shy away from Yabukita. Here we have just a nice also sweet beginning, but then the astringency comes into the matcha. So I have a little bit of sweetness, then have a certain texture, like a little bit of a silkiness, a creaminess with it, thanks also to the whisking. And then I have a little bit of an astringency, but I always have this intense green grass taste. Good. And now let's go to 80 degrees. It's much stronger on this kind of lighter and a little bit more citrusy tone. So it's much less kind of this deeper green, kind of also sweet tones which come with the taste of the matcha. You got a kind of a round, and nearly even got a small nuttiness with it. So it's just kind of, it starts kind of at the lower level, bringing up some sweetness, some a little bit this creaminess, like a little bit of a cashew nut flavor profile, and then it goes over into this greenness. So kind of the end of the matcha is this strong green flavor. When I go with the 80, it jumps directly into the greenness. So you have somehow, you trigger much more, it's also much fresher, so there's more kind of a fresh green, nearly citrusy flavor profile. This is something I also realized when I did kind of leaf tea and you brew it just to the hotter, you just trigger more this kind of fresher, greener parts, while when you go lower with the temperature, you get a little bit more this full-bodied, kind of round, sweet, and also more the umami flavor. So it happens quite similar with the matcha. Meanwhile, here I have much more of a kind of a fresh experience of the tea itself, while here I got a lot of creaminess. It's just much directer on this green grass note which I get. So if you're a fan of kind of like a multi-layer taste experience where you start with more of a creaminess, then going over into a smooth, silky, and then later in a grassiness with some astringency, this is the temperature. So 60 degrees, 140 Fahrenheit is for you. If you're looking for really this kind of direct grass, fresh kick out of your matcha in the morning, because you need this boost of this freshness, like in kind of freshening up your mind, then you should go for the 80 degrees and enjoy your matcha at a higher temperature, because it shows much less of this kind of a nuttiness, creaminess, kind of a little bit more of a rounder, deeper notes, but it's much more on the lighter, refreshing notes. So this one here is then the 80 degrees, so 176 Fahrenheit. Both of them are very good. They just give you a different taste experience. My personal kind of favorite of this session here is still the low temperature. I like it when it starts with this nice creaminess and then goes over into another taste profile. But taste is very personal, so you might taste or test this at home for yourself and find out what is actually your favorite matcha temperature. Good. This is been this. Thanks a lot for watching again until the end. Then I wish you a great day and see you soon.